I sent it first, I thought that it wouldn't be a failure like now, but I'm going to explain you what had happened. So the idea is to make some Wikimedia-powered full didactic units that schools can reuse like standalone, like with our help. So there's a new paradigm in education happening in many countries. I don't know which ones, but in many countries it's happening that learning is now more based in situations or things they have to solve or problems than in subjects. And in many countries there are even deleting subjects, like the idea of having a separate subject of mathematics, language, or whatever, and they are working more on solving topics, solving issues. So the vast autonomous community, that is one of the parts of this country, is not changing towards that paradigm, and teachers are actually asked to work on that kind of curricular projects. The problem is that it's really hard to make those. They lack formation, and they're quite complex and time-consuming to do. And after that, many schools are doing those, but it's very difficult to serve, like to reuse one that is being made in another school. So what we thought was making a new proposal, it's called Wikikasi, that was building full didactic units that teachers can simply reuse. I mean, we make all the documentation, all the curricular documentation, all the things you need to present to the school board, to whatever. Everything is there. All of the activities, all the rubrics, everything is there. So you just take it and use it. We wanted to present something that could use Wikimedia, but not only Wikimedia, also other collaborative platforms like iNaturalist, OpenStreetMap. It may be also reading Wikipedia. It doesn't need to be collaborating Wikipedia. It can be commons. It can be lots of things. So that's what the second thing, and we wanted to actually research their usefulness and impact, because we didn't really know if what we were proposing was actually interesting or not. So what we wanted to do is to partner with some researchers so they research what we are doing and the overall impact of those in the curriculum activities of the students. So at the end of the project, they scientifically say that Wikimedia-powered projects are good for students in their learning paths or whatever. So that was the three goals we made. So we were three partners, but Wikimedia User Group, Tanayos Cooperative, that are the ones that are doing all the stuff, like all the didactic units, they have experts on that. And then there is a faculty of the university, of my own university, that will be the responsible for research. That will be the three partners, and we will have been like for 1 year and a half working on that. So the problem, well, it's more complex than thought. Like the idea was good, but maybe not so good because it was complex. So building the proposals, so the research part would happen required a lot of discussion and iterations. Something that the university said is that if we don't make the pedagogical proposal right, at the end of the day, the students will be in the same part, in the same position as they were when they started. So it will be like the research will demonstrate that your project doesn't get anything done, like it's not useful. So you have to be very specific on how they are going to learn everything. So we have lots of discussion on that. The second part is that for creating new schools, they need a very tight time frame. Like teachers are eager to have new things, like, okay, tell me your project like the 4th of September, but 5th of September is too late because they are starting course or whatever. So it was very tight. And every time we went to a professor or a teacher, it was like, okay, this is really interesting, but I can't do now because the course has started. Or if we go at the end of the courses, this is very interesting, but I don't know if I will be here next year. So it was very difficult. And the third thing that was that convincing teachers, individual teachers, wasn't the key here, because as subjects are being deleted, you have to convince a large bunch of teachers in the same school. So it's not like you have a very motivated kamikaze professor that will say, okay, I'm going to test that. You need 3 or 4 of those in the same course, the same school. So yeah, was common. So yes, we failed. We tried, but we failed. So was a total failure? Where it wasn't. I mean, we have 4 learning situations published and a 5th one on the way that is happily done. We are still doing that. Okay, so you can check there in that link. What we are going to do is phase out the research component and focus on recruitment. I mean, it was very expensive, the research part, because you have to pay researchers for 3 years for doing that. So we are going to reuse that money in maybe communications, maybe making more, or maybe going directly to some schools. And we can use the research budget in communications, whatever. So I made this presentation last Monday. Like I came here yesterday, it was Thursday. In Wednesday, I have a meeting, so we can start, instead of randomly with some schools, we are going to start with just one village where they have 7 schools, and we are going to try to convince most of them. One of the things we wanted to research is not to research in schools that are very similar among them, because you can have schools that are from high economical situations, from towns where they are very used to have computers, and also for places where they actually use Basque in a very fluent way. But there are schools where you have, for example, lots of migrants, where computers are not in the best situation, or where teachers deal with other problems that are not, let's contribute to commons. So we wanted to research in very different areas, so we are going to try to get that in just one town and surroundings. So, I mean, it's not a total failure because we are still trying to make the second part. So, what did we learn? That was the first idea is, okay, projects may fail, and normally we present projects that are successful. So, there are lots of projects that they just fail, and failing is painful. It has been like, okay, when do we say, okay, it's enough, we are going to stop this? But total failures actually don't exist because we have lots of materials done. We have more in the way, more ideas. In this process of, okay, let's stop this, we have talked to many teachers that say, okay, yes, you are right to stopping it, but let's try in another way, or let's convince that guy in the back that is quite interested in this, and maybe next year, let's see. So there, I will say this is quite Paulo Coelho, but there is always a path forward. So sometimes there are more than one, but the problem is finding those. So what I wanted to start with you is like, don't despair, and sometimes stop your projects, just go back, see if the project is still interesting or not, and maybe you will find other things to do or whatever. So that's it.
I think you have time for questions.
Any question or?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation. In terms of running a program, we will always find some difficulties and challenge like what you present today. But how do you know how to stop? What you in which position, yeah, in which level that because it's always hard to be aware. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So some partners told me that we took too long to stop. Like we have been trying other ways to stop. For me, the point where I say, okay, we must stop, for me personally was the moment when the research part sent me a Google form for schools that was closed and not shareable to other schools. Like you had to ask for permission to use the form. It was like, okay, let's stop this because this is not making sense. I mean, we are not in the same page. The other second part, I mean, if everything was for free, I'd say gratis, for free, like no money, we could continue forever, but things cost money. So for us, this was a huge effort in our budget. It was 10% of our budget is dedicated to this project. So it was quite hard to continue because we are getting public money, in this case from the Basque government. So if you are getting public money, the first year we could say to them, okay, we are getting this money, but the project is not going well, but we are going to try for the second year. But how are we going to justify this second year if the result is we are not going to do it? So it was less than half a year, but I think that was the moment to say, okay, we are not going with this. Also, time was here relevant because for us, May 2025, June maybe, was the key moment to convince more schools. If we are not in that point, then it doesn't make sense to continue with that. But I don't know, that's my perspective. And one of the partners told me that they should have stopped like 4 months earlier.
Okay, I have a question. I usually, my last job was like 8 years. For 8 years in libraries, we used to work with non-formal education. Have you tried in that way, like not in school, but in another places, as libraries or another kind of an informal education, I think?
It couldn't make sense because we are using the very tight formal education curriculum for this. So, I mean, we can do things with informal education, we are doing things with libraries, but in this case, libraries don't have any necessity to just justify in the tight paradigm that teachers are having to justify what they are teaching in their schools. So it's freer, and you can go, yes. Yeah, it's very different, but we are doing also that. This was something that was prepared for school teachers, where they have all the justification they have to, and they still have all the justification they have to give to their management board, or however to say, to justify that they are doing this. And this is related to how the Basque government is asking teachers to fill their paperwork. So working with museums and with grants is something that we are doing, but doesn't have that constraint. Yeah, but they don't have the same constraint. I mean, we can do, that is something that we are actually doing. We are going to schools, we are working in very different ways. But in this case, it's something that is, as a teacher, we are required to fill this, so let's facilitate that. That was the idea, but it's very different approach. And maybe that's why we fail, because no one still knows how they have to fill a paperwork.
You know, Galder, congratulations, and I think over lunch I have many questions, but first, I think we are all learning to fail again and fail better. That's the thing. But you're talking about different metrics. A metric for scientifically prove that this works, and the other is for learning. We know that works, but you know, it's just that we have a new methodology or our own methodology. And I think that's our homework. Something that we can obtain, make it systematically and surely. And maybe we're not doing that so well in the education programs. So maybe that's a homework for me. And thank you for your talk. I have many questions for you.
Okay, thank you. Time is over, and now there are really cool learning thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jose Alejandro Reyes Segura. I'm from Mexico City. I'm the education program coordinator. I'm very happy to share with you today. I'm here to share the presentation, Pedagogical Studies for the Construction of the Wikimedia Mexico Education Program. to respect the timeline of the program and understanding of the presentation, I will read the entire process. The presentation is in English and Spanish. The agenda for the day is to talk about the education program and its educational cartographies, and then share the program's working methodology. The education program in Mexico has two important dates, 2011 and 2019. Wikimedia Mexico was founded in 2011, and in 2019 when a program manager was appointed. We designed this program to contribute to the development and the support of educational communities in the country. It is important for us to have resources that help us understand this goal. For this reason, we created this book in 2022, Wikieducación, Prácticas y Experiencias Educativas en México, con Wikipedia y otros recursos educativos abiertos. It's available in Spanish on Wikimedia Commons. We have a código QR. On this occasion, I'm going to show you two educational cartographies that's important for the program. The first is the dashboard program. We have 144 educational programs since 2019. The second is the map of our impact across the country. We have more than 50 partnerships. Our work continues to encompass the entire country, and we can say that Wikipedia es parte of education. Wikipedia es parte de la educación como filosofía del programa educativo. To achieve this goal, we developed a methodology that includes the following topics: non-formal education, open education, free culture. Each topic has conceptual and practical philosophy, allowing us to explore diverse topics in the classroom and work different Wikimedia projects: Wikipedia, Wikimedia Commons, Wikidata, Wikisource, Wikiviajes. We start with the didactic moments, which the teacher to learn, plan the project, develop the session, and assess the impact on the students. A project can last a week, or it can last a course. And to close, I'm sharing some success stories with photos of them. For Wikimedia Mexico, people are important. The communities are very important. Juan Gabriel, the Mexican composer, says, "Without people, there's no God. Not it will be. Without people, there is not Wikipedia." And Eduardo Valero says, "Many small people in a small place doing small things can change the world." That's all for me. That's all for this presentation. Thank you for the invitation. Los esperamos en México.